Things are moving. There's things that are moving in the background. The hockey insiders are cooking, but they're putting out mixed messages. It seemed like Yoel Armia and Jake Evans were destined to be traded, but we do see conflicting reports saying that maybe there has been some headway made with Jake Evans' contract. Montreal has been linked to Dylan Cozens. The Devils are reportedly looking for a third-line center. Could that fit Jake Evans? There has been some names thrown into the mix that I feel are interesting, but not necessarily good targets for Montreal or reasonable targets. But I've set up the video enough. Let's talk about it. It's times like these when hockey isn't being played that my head starts to spin. I start thinking about numbers, salaries, who's available, who makes sense for a trade, what's going to happen near deadline. Is Montreal a seller? Are they a buyer? Is the rebuild really improving? If we're going to move some of the guys that improved over these last couple of years, is it really improving? It's sketchy times. That's why you need to subscribe to my channel to stay updated. We're trying to make a push towards 10,000 subscribers. It's slow going this month because Montreal has kind of died inside their bed. But that's not to say things won't pick up again. So hit that subscribe button, join the community. What is going to happen with Jake Evans? What is going to happen with Armia? What's going to happen with Matheson? What's going to happen with Savard? And what's going to happen with Dvorak? I've seen individuals say that they should re-sign Dvorak and have him do essentially what Pizzetta is doing this season. And I hate to say it, buddy, but that might be your best option. Yeah, if it comes around, take it. But there's no doubt that there will be some moves made before trade deadline. The great thing about being sellers for Evans and Armia now are that their stock has basically never been higher. In that way, it makes a lot of sense for Hughes to find a place where these two can find their new homes. There's also been rumors that he might look for a place where they can both go to the same place, maximizing returns. I'm also hearing that Matheson, although he has a year left on his contract, could be a really interesting target for a lot of different teams. There's even rumors around Savard potentially going to the Oilers. Honestly, it's really a lot on the head, and I have a hard time picturing it, visualizing who stays, who goes, and where the spots are. Where are there gaps? I have a good idea actually. Let's do something in Tier Maker again. Does this work? It works. This looks good. Okay, so I put this together. I'm not married to this. I could be wrong about some of this stuff, but I've created the first line and the defensive pairings, the second line defensive pairing, third line defensive pairings, fourth line, and the goalies. And then I have trade, free agency, and developing. So there's some gaps here. Missing. So the first line, got that figured out. Caulfield, Suzuki, Demidov, Cooley, Hudson. Whether or not Demidov is on the first line, the second line, and Slav goes back up with the boys, whatever. I think that Demidov is the better player right now to bet on. Sorry, Slav. He's a phenom. And then, of course, we have Line A, Doc, Slav, Carrier. Nothing. We're blank on second line pairing for defense. Third, we have Josh Anderson. Can't get rid of his contract. He's likely going to stick around unless they finagle something really interesting. Emil Heineman and Newhook. Newhook, you go in the center here, bud. And then Xhekaj. I think that Xhekaj is sticking around. He could always make an interesting trade asset, but he's a green defenseman. You know, he's in year 1 of 2 of his prove-it contract. The price, if it's right, I'd hate to see it, but if the price is right, Xhekaj could move. But then we have a missing component here. And then we have the fourth with Gallagher. I don't know. And I don't know if Armia and Evans are gone. And then Dobesh and Montembeault. I guess I could have had the lines more mimic what we currently have, but whatever. You get it. You get the idea. So Armia, Evans, Savard, Matheson, you guys have all kind of been talked about in the rumors lately. Kapanen's been doing great. Beck showed some real grit. Mayu, you were slated to be on the roster this year, potentially, if you had a good camp and you showed that you were developing really well. Didn't crack the lineup. Reinbacher. I don't know if the timing works out for him, honestly. He's maybe the biggest question mark. We want to see more time in Laval. But if he's brilliant, you never know. We have Noah Dobson, Dylan Cozens, both individuals that were linked to Montreal. Then we have Struble, Dvorak, and Pezzetta. Struble, Dvorak, and Pezzetta, you guys are question marks, but I think the writing is on the wall with some of you. So let's say management wanted to take a big chance. They want to bet on their prospects. They want to see some development in the big show. Beck moves up. Let's say Beck centers line 4, even though Kapanen is the center, and he could easily do it as well. I think that, does Kapanen have some experience going wing? Maybe it's the other way around, because Beck has experience going wing. It'd be a shame though, because Beck is so good at the faceoff circle. Now all we're missing is 2 defensemen. Do we keep Matheson? Do we re-sign Savard? I think one of these 2 guys have got to go. What do you guys think? Savard has not had a great year. I have always been a huge fan of Savard. At the start of the season, I really wanted to hold on to him. He has talked a lot about wanting to stay in the Montreal market. He's a family man. Same with Matheson. I think that Savard pleaded his case a little bit stronger than Matheson. Although, dang, I really like Matheson too. There's bias here. I'm a dad, and seeing these 2 and how much they talk about their kids relative to other NHL players in the league, I find that they're really good hockey dads. Matheson is attractive to other teams because of his pedigree, his speed. He's an offensive defenseman, but he has really good, well, don't roast me in the comments for this one, but he does have good defensive capabilities. The problem is he still has a year left on his contract. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. That's a good thing. But if you're a team looking for a loaner, just a rental player, then, Savard makes sense, because you don't have to try to get rid of his contract at the end of the season or the playoff run. Savard was linked to a trade in Edmonton. I don't know how I feel about that, and I don't know what the source is on that one. So don't quote me on that one, but I think that someone said that they had inquired about Savard. That might be wrong. It might be that an analyst said that Savard would make sense for Oilers. I'm not quite sure. So just for the sake of conversation, let's say that Savard gets traded to Edmonton. He goes on a Stanley Cup run again. He gets another Stanley Cup, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. Maybe he gets another contract next season. Maybe we get him back next season, like what didn't happen with Monahan. That's a pretty weird series of events. But anyway, I think that they need to take a risk on Mailloux. I didn't mind the pairing Mailloux and Xhekaj. I think Mailloux has some things to learn about Xhekaj. Xhekaj's grown a lot. When we saw Xhekaj take on extra responsibilities after Gouli went out this season, it wasn't great. He still has a lot to learn, but that's okay. He's still in the learning phase of his development career. I don't think that they should give up on Xhekaj. So now we have a first line, we have a second line, we have a third line, we have a fourth line with the 2 goalies. We're going to say that Reinbacher needs time to develop. He needs more time in the oven. What happens with Cozens and Dobson? Do they really want to be winners on these hockey trades? Does it have something to do with Jake Evans and Armia? Even with their stock being really high this season, they are not a trade for Cozens or Dobson. Just because what each have accomplished in like 1 year of their NHL career, I don't know. Maybe they can finagle that. I don't know. Maybe they could be traded. I would suspect that it's a combination of the 2 and potentially draft picks. I don't know. But either way, this works, right? This could work. If one of these gets added, then, okay, so Cozens gets added. Maybe Beck goes back or something like that. Or maybe instead of Beck going back, it's Kapanen, vice versa. And then let's say instead they somehow manage to trade for Dobson, then maybe Matheson becomes a trade asset for more firepower or more ammunition in the trade department. And if Dobson is working out, maybe then you feel a little bit more comfortable mixing up the defensive pairings. Maybe Reinbacher comes in later on in the season, or maybe they just rotate out Mailloux and Reinbacher until one finally sticks. It's interesting. You can see that there's something here that doesn't damage the team so badly. I think we do overrate Evans and Armia a bit. The season is a little bit of an anomaly for them. and they have been so good. I mean, they have been this good. Jake Evans, 5th on the team for points. Yoel Armia, 7th on the team for points. Say what you will about the plus minus stat, but Yoel Armia is +1, Jake Evans +2, Nick Suzuki's +3, and then everybody else, except for Heineman as well. Gooley. I think plus minus like actually matters when you look at it that way. Dang, look at Nick this season. 4 overtime goals. Jake Evans, 5 game-winning goals. He was a difference maker in a lot of games. I don't know. The future is interesting. I think that something happens sooner than later. Elliot Friedman was talking about movement happening during the Four Nations face-off. I really hope, if that's true and Armia is one of the individuals, that they wait until after the Four Nations face-off to deal Armia. You don't want that goblin in his head trying to compete for his country. But let me know what you think, guys. It's been really fun doing this. It's kind of been like a little bit of an exercise for me. Hope it was fun for you guys to think about. You know what? I'm going to upload that tier maker list, and you guys can you can vote on it, just like we did for the other one. Oh yeah, check this out. Check out the results from that one. Here it is. So 16 of you have participated in creating your own tier lists by voting on each player, and you have thought that Caulfield lands and exceeds, Jake Evans lands and exceeds, Lane Hudson lands and exceeds, and Suzuki lands and exceeds, excuse me. Wait, is this just mine? Oh, this is my list. Sorry. Let's see how much my list mirrors your list. Okay, so Hudson, Carrier, and Evans excels, Gooley, Heineman, Armia, Suzuki. I like that. Meets, Beck, Mayu, Savard, Dobesh, Montembeau, Anderson, Laine, Gallagher, Matheson, Struble, Jackeye, Caulfield. Oh, really? Caulfield in meets. Okay. Dvorak in meets. Newhook in meets. And then below Doc and Slav and struggling Pizzetta. Okay. Yeah, definitely warranted for Slav. Doc. Yeah, below. I don't know. I think we still need to be patient with him. Dvorak gets paid so little. Maybe he does meet. Newhook has found some energy as of late. He's the best out of a bad bunch. Really? I get it. I definitely get it. Yeah, so I'll put up the new list on in the description maybe, or I can do a community note as well. That's going to be fun. But thank you so much for watching. Like the video. It helps me out with search results. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Why aren't you a subscriber? Subscribe. And as always, I'll see you down below in the comments.